made it to Chirohustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channel and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 322 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I am your co-host, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. LaGuardia. If you want to understand how there's the greatest miracle through chiropractic, stay tuned. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have Dr. LaGuardia coming in with me, and this is episode 322. I know that's the number because I wrote it right there. But yeah, it's been quite the journey. 4 years of making these amazing episodes for the chiropractic community. And Dr. LaGuardia, so happy to have you on today, man. I know that we've been back and forth for a month or so now, just getting to know each other. But before we get into this episode, I just want to set some standards for people, letting people know why we do what we do and who it's for. We do it for you guys. I've always said that if it was about money, we probably wouldn't be doing a podcast, but it's about sharing the big idea, which is BJ Palmer's work. And we do participate, helping out, protecting free speech in chiropractic. With that being said, we do protect the sacred trust. You don't have to be a chiropractor to protect the sacred trust, by the way. And you don't have to be a chiropractor to know what subluxation is. So those things are things that we support. We support the chiropractor with subluxation-based chiropractic and innate intelligence, universal intelligence, and really the fundamentals of old school chiropractic. Kind of, it's like new school to us, but a lot of people don't know this stuff. So Dr. J, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Jim. I'm really excited to be here and big fan of the work you do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, man. And I'm a big fan of the work you do. Interviewing 1,000 chiropractors over the past 4 years, it's a real special place because we do create a megaphone atmosphere for the chiropractic messaging. And I think that that's so important, as they like to coin phrases now more than ever. We do have to pivot into the chiropractic message, because I think I've talked to a lot of chiropractors and they're like, hey man, this is a time when we really have to accelerate the messaging of what chiropractors do and how we can fill the gaps with this problem that's happening right now with the health of the nation and of the world. So we'll talk more about that type of stuff as we go through this interview, because I want to know about what you're doing for your personal health and things of that nature. But let's just tell people your story, man. How did you get into the beautiful profession of chiropractic, and where are you today?
Well, it's not unlike many. I was actually in school to be an orthopedic surgeon. I was preparing for my MCATs, and I got hurt playing ball. And I wasn't getting really any help in the medical model, the trainers, and I wanted to get back on the field. My mother had suggested I go see her chiropractor. And I did, and I had great results. It was this little mom pop office. The wife worked the front desk. It was this old Victorian home, and it was such a quaint experience. And it was the first doctor I had ever visited where it was a fun experience. There was no anxiety. There was people having fun. The energy was cool. And I don't really know what he did, but he fixed me up, and I felt great. And I got back on the field, and all was good. A few weeks later, I was coming out of a biochem lab one evening, and the adjoining lecture hall, my field doctor, Dr. Rich Rada, was there giving a chiropractic talk. And I said, let me stop in and say hi to Dr. Rada. And I sat down, and first time I really heard the chiropractic story. And I fell in love with it. It was just something that seemed so organic and real and spoke to my heart. And at that moment, I decided I was going to forego the career as an ortho surgeon. And I went home and I told my mother, I'm going to be a chiropractor. And that didn't go over so well. I mean, it worked out great, of course, but her vision of her son being an ortho surgeon was out the window. But anyway, it worked out tremendously. Chiropractic has given me everything in my life in every way, shape, or form. I'm so blessed to be a part of this profession and the people in it, and of course the patients we've had to serve. I practice actively for 25 years. I had 10 clinics at one time, one of the largest clinics in the country as well. And I learned a lot along the way, made a ton of mistakes, which made me a much better business person, a more compassionate doctor, and most importantly, a server of humanity. And I took that mess that was the early part of my career, and I turned it into my message. And I retired when I was 50. Fortunately, I made a lot of great investments, and I didn't need to work anymore. I loved practicing, but I wanted to take what I learned and teach it to others and have a greater, more global impact. And so for the last 5 years, I've been lecturing, writing, speaking, of course, our podcast, consulting, and not just with the chiropractors. Our business has expanded to a multitude of small businesses and entrepreneurship. And I love what I do. I'm so grateful each day to get up and to do it, inspire, empower people to live healthier and happier lives. And I get to do it on a grander scale rather than one patient at a time. But I'm still in the game. I will always be in the game because this thing called chiropractic is that important.
You said a lot of amazing stuff there, and I'm really compelled to say thank you for being a brilliant mind and being a brilliant contributor to chiropractic and pulling yourself into the direction of chiropractic and being a great servant, because I honestly believe the world needs more great minds and brilliant hearts and brilliant contribution from people that want to have a better quality of life through serving in chiropractic. I think that, most chiropractors are a cut above when it comes to the way that they take on life, their whole lifestyle, the eating right, the thinking right, the moving right, the contribution, the servants, the taking care of their community, being a pillar in the community, and really helping serve. I think that is such an under discussed part of the chiropractic profession. We want to talk about marketing. We want to talk about, how many did you see? Well, I think the person behind all of that is the real contributor and factor to the success of this profession. So thank you for everything that you have done and the things that you spoke upon, and I'm happy to have you here as a chiropractor.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You mentioned, it's not unusual. You go to a chiropractic event or seminar and maybe not as much now as it was when I was cutting my teeth in the profession in the late 80s and 90s. Everyone would talk about how many visits they're seeing. And what I quickly learned, that's ego. And you can't serve from your true authentic self when you're serving from ego. And I never got into that game, you know what I mean? Because it's only self-serving. To me, it was, what kind of impact did you have on the people that you served?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk this podcasting thing. You got a podcast. And I know that that's a huge thing when it comes to marketing. Why did you decide to do it, man? What's the podcast, and how does that help you with your marketing?
The name of the podcast is called Power, Passion, Prosperity. And the overall brand is a Triple P Life. It's about empowering dreams, igniting passion, and accelerating prosperity in the key areas of life. And it came to me, Jim, one day, you have seminal moments in your life, and I can recall it like it was yesterday. It was after I had retired, and I was doing my consulting and loving it, but I just felt like I wasn't playing big enough. And if the second half of my career was going to have meaning in an impactful way, a larger way, I needed to find a method in which to get my message out. So I was meditating one day, and I asked myself this question. This is what I was meditating on. if I had to determine 3 words that would define my success in life, and the 3 words were empowering, right? An empowering mind, empowering others, passion, because I've yet to meet anyone who's successful is not passionate. And those 2 elements lead to prosperity. Prosperity in so many aspects of your life, every aspect, your health, your relationships, financial. And so the brand was born, the podcast started. I did some coaching with, maybe you're familiar with Johnny Lee Dumas from Entrepreneurs on Fire. He has one of the top 10 business podcasts in the world. And I spent some time with him, and he said, Jay, if you're really committed to doing this, podcasting is a grind. It takes work. But as you laugh, as you know, he said, but you got a real powerful message. And if you stick with it, it's going to really transcend. And we've had great success. We're downloaded in over 90 countries, continue to grow. And I feel really, really fortunate to be able to get behind my mic and speak to people.
Yeah, I would tell anybody right now, if you ever want to do something to differentiate yourself in the marketplace, is to start a podcast. And that's the best marketing arm that I would ever tell anybody to do. But you're right. It is time consuming. It is a labor of love. You have to have clear vision. Otherwise it becomes something that you have aversion from because it looks like work. And
it's true. And you've got to really differentiate your brand. I think the last number I heard is there's over 1 million podcasts now. So how do you step above the morass of all the noise? It's the differentiation of your brand. And the thing that he taught me that really made the difference is really niching down. People will find you if they know exactly what you stand for and what your brand's about.
Yeah. Micro niching is something that I think a lot of people, I read John's book too. It's brilliant, by the way. The Common Path to Uncommon Success. It's really a good book. We had a mastermind down in Puerto Rico this past year. And
you there, John?
Yeah. I had a chance to meet John. Yep.
Yeah. I was there a couple of years ago, and it was funny when I was there. He hurt himself, and I saw him kind of walking funny. And I said, "John, you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, my back's been bothering me." So I said, "Man, I can't be here and not adjust you." And I was in his home, down in his gym, and working on him 3 days straight, and we got him taken care of. And he's a big fan of chiropractic.
Yeah. Brilliant guy, a hard worker, clear vision, good intent, helped rise up a lot of us and give us hope to be able to do this type of stuff too. So kudos to John Lee. Thank you. Let's talk more about you. Health. What are you doing, man? Like, how are you looking so good at, like, what are you, 50 something now?
56.
56. How are you staying so fit and healthy? What are your habits? What are you doing?
I've been doing, what I'll share with you really for the better part of 34 years now. I met my wife in chiropractic school, and she was going to this gym, and I was like trying to figure, well, obviously she was my girlfriend. It wasn't even my girlfriend then. And I was like, well, I'm going to go to the gym she's at. So I started to work out because she was working out at this gym, and I've never stopped. So, I exercise 5 days a week. So I owe her that and so much more. So I work out 5 days a week. We own fitness studios, F45 studios with my kids. They run it, and so blessed to be in business with my kids. So I work out 5 days a week. So I work my physical well-being. I move each and every day. Of course, I have good health habits as it relates to what I put into my body. I test myself twice a year, make sure I'm putting the proper nutrients in, make sure they're at the optimum levels. I've got a team of experts around me who help me, right, and guide me. So your team is really important. And then I think what's mostly undervalued is I spend time each and every day on working on my mindset. I have learned that the best investment you can ever make is the 6 inches between your ears. When you stop learning, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, you're on a path to ultimate destruction and death. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I have a daily routine and ritual that I work on my mindset. when I first started in chiropractic, I was young, I was ego driven, I was anger based. And I needed to figure out what was driving and fueling the anger. And I'll tell you what started the whole process was meditation and going within and really understanding what was fueling my anger. And I really say meditation changed my life, saved my life. And so, I meditate every day. I read great content. I listen to great content. I work on my goals. I am present in my goals. I think that we're at the dawning of a new age, Jim. And my belief is if you would look back 2 generations ago and you would say, hey, 34 or 40 years from now, a good portion of the population would have gym memberships spending $100, $200 a month to go exercise, you would say you're absolutely out of your mind. But as the advent of technology changed our life from an active to a sedentary lifestyle, which has led to the growth in chiropractic, in my opinion, one of them anyway, right? We're at a new dawning. We're mental fitness. We're going to look ahead a generation or 2 now. You mean you guys didn't work on your mindset every day? That's absurd. Because if you don't nourish this mindset, Gandhi said, don't ever let someone with dirty feet walk through the garden of your mind. Well, we allow that. So we have to weed our mind of the negative thoughts, the toxic thoughts, the preconditioning program and beliefs that culture and the environment has created, so we can create a vision for ourselves based on our beliefs and therefore create an outcome in our life that's going to fulfill our highest self.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle. Amen. You speak with so much power and passion. Back to your 3 Ps. The core of what you offer to somebody is certainty. And I think a lot of times when people are drifting, we call it drifting in the training that I do. When you drift, then you can be easily taken to the pit. And that's when people start to follow this weak mindset stuff of, ooh, somebody doesn't like me. Ooh, somebody said something that offended me. You don't even think about that stuff when you're mentally prepared with meditation, prayers, affirmation, certainty. You set targets, as you call them, goals. When you have those types of structures within you, I mean, you're immovable with your mindset about things, and it does affect people. When you don't have that stuff, it affects you deep. But when you do follow those routines of healthy habits, specifically with mindset, meditation is one of those things. One of my mentors recently sent me something, actually it was yesterday, about this guy named Ray Dalio. He said the thing that made him this multi-billionaire dude and could manage all these hedge funds was 40 minutes of meditation a day. And I was like, well, I've been doing 251 days straight of brain tap, but I've been doing meditation now every day for at least 20 minutes for the past 3 years and 3 months. So I think you can't say enough about when people are mentally prepared. And that's one of the parts of chiropractic is its thoughts, traumas, and toxins. So if you can prepare somebody to have stronger capacity with their thoughts, they have more chance of staying healthy long-term.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. It's really well said. Most of us show up each day and we're living from our past. In other words, we're habitual. 90% of what we do comes from our subconscious mind. We do the same thing day in and day out. And we wonder why 6 months down the road, a year, or here we are, we're at the precipice of a new year. We look back, 12 months ago, we're no different. And the reason is because we're not living intentionally. And so quite a while ago, I started each day with visualizing the things that I had going on in my day and what outcome I wanted and how I was going to choose to show up for that particular event, whether it's dealing with an employee or doing an interview, or I was working on a sales call, or I had a conversation with one of my kids. What is my intention? What is my outcome? And how do I choose to show up? That's living with intention. And it's that intentionality universally that reflects back to us. And as a result, our life begins to flourish in an abundance that we can't even fathom. And opportunities begin to flow to us that we couldn't even conceive previously. So if there's one message I would leave for your listeners, start living intentionally. Be present in your thoughts and what you're putting out there. And when you choose the thoughts of higher energy and high vibrational tone, your life will dramatically change, and so will the lives around you.
Absolutely. And one has to stand in that truth, and everybody else gets a chance to benefit from that keeper of truth. And that's how generational information gets passed down. It's cool to see you working with your kids too. I'm sure that your stance in this world has helped them develop into, who they are today as well, and your wife being a chiropractor. So I want to transition into a really fun thing that I think is going to be beneficial to you and our audience to talk about is your heroes. I mean, you didn't just wake up one day and decide to be Dr. J. Who are some of your heroes that inspired you? Like, who are some of the people? Like, when I was growing up, I'd say Bo Jackson. Like, I wanted to be Bo Jackson. I wanted to be Pele. Like, who are some of the people that inspired you to be Dr. J?
Man, the list is endless. I stand on the shoulders of giants. We've all heard that saying. But I would say, Jim, the first person who really had the greatest impact in my life is my father-in-law, Pam's dad, Dr. Stuckey. I'll never forget, we were dating a few quarters, and he came down. He was doing a seminar at Life College, and he was teaching with Fred Barge, and they were doing a technique seminar. And I sat there and I watched in awe. You talked before about certainty, about the certainty he had of the philosophy and the assessment and the delivering of the adjustment and the power in which that delivery can unlock and unleash the true human potential. I was literally in awe watching this man. And then I had a chance to sit at the table literally and listen to him. And, one of my greatest strengths, even during some of my struggles, is I'm a pretty humble guy. I like to listen and learn from people, the 2 years, one mouth type of thing. So I just want to soak up as much as I can. He taught me what it was to be a professional. He taught me how to create wealth being a chiropractor, right? What to do with my money that I make as a chiropractor to create wealth. And he taught me what it was to be a servant of humanity. And I just can't, every day, he's been passed for a while now, but I absolute reverence for the man. Another great mentor is Dr. Larry Markson, who taught me about leadership, taught me about running a business, and who's the first individual ever to call me out of my crap and hold me accountable for the a-hole that I was back in the day. I credit Dr. Markson for saving my marriage, not just my business. And then, of course, Napoleon Hill. I read Think and Grow Rich at 17, and it changed my mindset, and at that moment, I knew I was going to be successful. I didn't know how or where or when or what, but I had such a belief after reading this book, and that's something I read often. Wayne Dyer was another tremendous influence on me, his concept of spirituality. And again, the list is endless. And I still seek out, I still have coaches. I still seek out mentors. Because my belief in life is that I will never stop growing and learning until God calls me home, because that's what I'm here for, and I'm here to make sure that I don't waste this time I have available.
Yeah, I think that there's so much beautiful stuff you shared there. Great influences. When you have people that are interested in your development, Every coach should have a coach, and everybody that thinks they know something should hang out with people that know a little bit more.
Right.
And I think that that's just a really cool thing, is to surround yourself with the giants,
Yes.
and to pay them and to pay them well. I think that that's another thing, is we have to pay it forward, but we also have to invest into people that see the world differently than us, because they've been there, done that. And I think that that's what makes the real universal relationship, when we build this connection with people to learn from them, and then you can impart that upon other people, because you've invested into it. So it's really cool. And that's just like learning chiropractic. You get to pay it forward with those adjustments for what, 25 years. Pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
So maybe you are
I
the
had,
miracle story.
one of those. Well, I don't know about that, but it's again, I just look back and again, just so many wonderful things that happened. Another real quick story was, another mentor I had was is Robin Sharma. I don't know if you're familiar with Robin Sharma. He's wrote many great books: The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, The Greatness Guide, so on and so forth. And I went to his entrepreneurial summit back in 2012, and it was $10,000 for the weekend. And not that I couldn't afford it, but it was a stress. Like, man, I'm going to really pay this guy 10 grand for the weekend? What's going on? But I did, and I went, and I spent the weekend with Robin and a couple of dozen people, and it was a life-changing experience. I was referencing about investing, right, in yourself, and investing, being around people like that. And since then, we built an 8-figure real estate company, studios, consulting company. And it's because that 10,000 I invested, it changes my mindset being around Robin. So that 10,000 will pay itself 100, maybe 10,000 times more.
That's such a great piece of advice for people. And it's better than marketing advice, because if you invest in yourself, you are the market. And, one of the takeaways of all
That's
that
right.
is, one of the takeaways of all that is, I did my taxes this past year and the year before. My accountant can't believe how much money I spend on coaching and personal development. He's like, that can't be right. He's like, how much did you spend on coaching? He's like, that's going to look bad to the IRS. I go, well, it was $70,000. He's like, there's how? And you work from home? And I was like, yeah, I work from home.
Yeah.
And, like, people don't get it. Like, when you have that expenditure of, I was like, yeah, man, I paid more in the past 3 years in personal development than I did in my college degree. And people that, you come in touch with, that's odd to them, because they could never fathom the idea that they would take that much money and put into their own personal development. So I get what you're saying, man.
With a much better ROI too. When you get to hang out with people like Johnny Lee Dumas and Russell Brunson, and you can't help but shift and change. I've always said, if you're the smartest person in the room, find a new room.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah. And just being able to say that you met that ilk of person, it's pretty impressive, man. And those are people that are industry transformers. And when people want to talk about like making $1 million in a day, that's Brunson, man. John Lee Dumas posts his monthly, I think he's made something like almost 100 months of 6 figures, which is super impressive, running a podcast. Awesome stuff. But we're almost at the edge of our time today, Dr. J. So let's go back to clinical days and share with me a miracle story to send our audience off with.
I was thinking about this, and I guess the greatest miracle is life, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I know I can recall at least 6 times when doctors had given up on women ability to conceive and have a child. They did all the fertility. The husbands did the fertility, and they basically said, we did everything we could. You're just not going to be able to have a child. And at least 6 times they started chiropractic care. And shortly thereafter, they got pregnant, and to watch them come in and just be bawling in gratitude, and I'm humble, right, to the point where, all I did, man, was remove the interference. God did the rest, right? I did the rest. But it's also funny when they come into your practice and they say to you, Dr. J got me pregnant. That always makes, it's like, because my wife, at the time was working in the practice. Whoa, let's back up a little bit here. So, yeah, 6 times I can recall that happening, and with all our associates, I'm sure it's way more than that.
Yeah, there's so much powerful stuff. And when I was working in a clinic 13 years ago, I had kind of a spat with one of the doctor's cousins, because I was out doing the marketing events, and I was like, yeah, we adjust babies, to the lady. And she's like, you can't tell people that. I'm like, we adjust babies, we adjust babies, we adjust babies. And we can speed up the delivery time of a pregnancy. Did you hear that one too? And I was like, by the way, Dr. Mike can turn babies. You hear all that baby stuff? And she's like, you can't tell people that. I'm like, well, number one, we do adjust babies at the office. Number two, women do get pregnant when their body starts functioning the right way because of chiropractic. Number three, Dr. Mike can turn babies because I saw him do it. And yeah, man, it's powerful. And when you can have an impact on a family like that, having a healthy pregnancy, having a healthy baby, having a healthy start in life, that's such a blessing to a family.
Absolutely. Nothing better.
Yeah. So, I mean, the power of chiropractic, guys. I always say we're just one story away. Keep hustling. And with Dr. J, I'd say you're just one baby away. Keep adjusting.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man, you just got to rewire the nervous system a little bit and take the pressure off the nerve. Take the subluxation out of the spine, allowing that lesion to heal. And when that happens, man, the body just heals. And the miracle is conception. The miracle is quality of life, outcome of healthy dynamics. And I think that's just really what people need to hear when they listen to chiropractic messages. Is chiropractic is science, chiropractic is philosophy, and chiropractic is art, but it's also a healing profession, and it takes care of the community, and it makes healthy families.
I agree. And I keep it really simple because I'm a simple guy. I like simple processes. I tell our docs, and particularly young docs, right from the start, it's very simple. Tell the story. Tell the chiropractic story as often as you can to as many people as you can. Deliver the results you speak about. Be a master technician and clinician. Some people say, I've never gotten any miracles in my office. And my response to that is, check your application, check your technique, right? So deliver the results you speak about. Do it at a price people can afford, and let Innate run the show. And if you do that, right, where does the power come from? What turns it on? What turns it off? What turns it on? And what's the benefit of keeping it turned on for the rest of your life? That's the best marketing tool, because you will have a huge practice of reoccurring high PVA, that you won't be in this, repetitive rut of always having to refill new patients, and you'll have abundant referrals. And that's how we build all these practices. It's not hard.
Well, Dr. J, if people want to get in touch with you or learn more about you, where can we send them to?
Well, podcasts, of course, Power, Passion, Prosperity with Dr. J on any podcast app, or at Dr. J LaGuardia, Facebook and Instagram. Or if you have a question for me, it's really simple. Email me, drjay@PPPlife.com.
All right. Well, that is awesome. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, man, just remember each day how blessed you are and how grateful you should be to go to your office and change lives, because it really is something to behold and something to really cherish. This is an amazing profession, and be grateful that you're part of it.
Amen. Dr. J, thank you for being my guest today on episode 322. I know that because I wrote it right there. And really appreciate you being a guest and sharing your wisdom and the work that you've been a part of for a couple decades. So really appreciate you, man. I want you to have a happy holiday season and a happy new year, and keep on shining, brother.
Thank you, Jim. You too, and all your listeners, Merry Christmas and a healthy and prosperous New Year.
Amen, man. Well, I look forward to talking to you soon, and have a good night.
Be well.
All right. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.